You never know what someone's going through in their day to day.
It's amazing when you just come full circle and
Like sleep on the pavement.
Yeah, man. Best part was the crowd.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Loft. Today I'm with my new guest.
What?
No,
Don't call me a guest.
Today I'm with Paige Pullman.
Big time now, baby.
This is a little bit of a debrief episode. You know, we're on episode 41. We did 40 of them. I like to check in every 20 episodes, check on progress, and just kind of like, you know, just checking on myself and checking on
Now
you.
Check in on me. I need that.
So Paige is yeah, right, because if you guys listen to her podcast, you know she
Check
needs
in
it.
on me.
But so I actually decided it'd be a good idea to bring her on full time as a co-host. People love you and you got a lot of good feedback, and I think you have a good charisma about you, and I think you'd be a really good co-host. I think you do a good job.
Thanks, Kev.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Glad to be here. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I think you do a really good job of you know, like help moving the conversation along. I feel like it's not, you know, me asking all the questions. You know, it's something I try to take note of.
Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job, and we'll still have Rob on whenever I want to have him on, whenever he wants to come on. But I wanted to have you on full time because, like I said, I think you do a really good job, and I think we, you know, when we had our conversations, you know, whether it was at Nifty's or we were at the garage last week. We were at garage last week.
Yeah, last week. Couple drinks.
Or yeah, a few drinks, and I think our visions really align. And you've been a huge part in my nonprofit recently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, helping with being on the committee for our fundraiser and just coming out every Thursday. And you know, you and everyone else who's been involved has been a huge part. But also too, I think that with what you want to do with the media and your blog and everything like that, I think it kind of just makes sense.
It's exciting.
We're on the road to 1,000. You know, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps. Every YouTuber says this, but I have to say it. It helps the algorithm. It really does. I saw that 85% of people watching aren't subscribed, so that kind of needs to change. We need to lower that number.
It kind of needs to change. It does need to change.
It should change. So Paige,
I'm here every episode. Change it.
Listen, if you don't want to watch for me, at least watch her page, right?
Watch me.
But no, like I said, guys, yeah, like I said, 85% of you guys are not subscribed who watch the podcast. Please subscribe. It does help. It helps like, commenting, and subscribing. It helps the algorithm. It helps push it out, and it helps us grow, and it helps us be able to reach more people and help more people, and that's our ultimate
And
goal.
we're going to have a lot of businesses and stuff coming on and stuff, too. So if anything, take away exactly who we're putting on. Go explore their pages. Go explore what they're doing. There's food places. There's mental health stuff. There's so much that's going to be coming full circle.
And it takes less than
full
circle. That's her thing. It takes less than 5 minutes to subscribe, to even create an account. It takes less than 5 minutes to even create an account. So like I said, we're on the road to 1,000. But yeah, I just wanted to put this quick little thing out there. I wanted to put this out there real quick. And yeah, back to the episode.
Exciting to see the transition from Nifty's to our conversation at Garage too, where I kind of came in and like we were talking about on the podcast that I came on for you initially, and I think that it's really cool to not only see how much growth we've had with the nonprofit and how much I've gotten involved since I've even like brought that to your attention, but the network that we've grown together and like our ideas coming. I'm not gonna say it.
Full circle.
Don't say it.
Paige's favorite quote and favorite line.
I was about to say it. Okay, call me out on it every single time I say it.
I will.
Like we said, I go back and I rewatch every single episode, and that's the one thing that I brought up. You weren't even going to call me out on it until you were like, thank God you said something.
You know why? I was going to make it like your thing. You know,
that was my thing.
Paige always says full circle.
And then put it like collage of like all the times I say it.
Yep.
No, it's horrible. But either way, I think it's really cool to watch our vision like kind of come together and like be able to grow our network together. And we've reached out to a few people told us that they want to get involved not only with the blog but with the podcast and stuff. So to see that go hand in hand and be able to promote businesses, have more conversations, expand our network and stuff, I think it's going to be really cool to watch it
and then
come to life.
To be honest, like it becomes a lot, you know, for me, like mentally, like whether it's like, you know, everyone's on their own journey. That's something I've learned in 2022. I don't know. You know, 2022 has been a really weird year so far. I don't know if you can.
We're 1 month in.
I can't really explain it. Like, it's been exactly a month by the time we're filming this, but like.
I feel like January was the longest month.
Yeah.
And so much happened.
Yeah, a lot happened, and it's like, I don't know. It's like weird. I don't know. I'm like a bit of a funk, so like it's nice to have another person I can rely on that that, just kind of understands and has been through some of the same things. Obviously you've been through a lot of shit, but it's like, being able to like come to you about certain things and kind of, talk.
I feel like our friendship just came in hot.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what did we say when we sat down at the garage? I was like, I'm gonna start calling you out for all your shit. You were like, bitch, I'm back, right back at you.
Yeah, there's a few things you said to me that really stuck out to me. I obviously won't say it on here, but no, you just say a few things that really stuck out to me that I kind of been implementing into my own life.
That makes me happy.
But yeah, for sure. And so Paige is here, gonna be here full time as a co-host. I'm excited to see what happens with the podcast and with everything else I have going on. So, but yeah, so Paige thought it'd be a good idea. As you can see, we don't have a guest today. I guess it's just us today.
It's just us today. But we're gonna spice it up.
Yeah, so we wanted to. She came up with this really good idea of asking each other questions, and I think it can kind of allow
the audience to like basically see more into exactly who we are. We talk so much. I mean, we share stories about like stuff that goes hand in hand with what like we've gone through and stuff too, but we don't really dive deep into it.
Yeah.
And my story was basically a lot about like what just specifically happened to me, not a broader outlook. So hopefully your questions don't kill me. I better.
And also too, like I feel like a lot of times I'm having people on and I'm having a lot of people on and I'm asking a lot about them, but like, I don't really share much about myself. And I think with the growth I've had this year, with last year, and just a lot of the things I've been through and mistakes I've made, I guess I'm trying to better myself. And I kind of want to let people know that and let people see that a little bit, because I do tend to come off pretty guarded, just because of some shit I got going on. But I want to open up a little bit on this one and, just kind of start the new year off and start, these episodes off on a high note and start them off on a deeper note, I
also want to point out too, I think it's so important to really hone in on the aspect of growth is a journey and it's an ongoing journey and there's setbacks, and no matter what, like I remember I wanted to start Paige's Pillow and stuff, and I was like, I'm a mental health advocate and all this stuff, and then I had a really big hiccup and it made me even more into it. But you have to realize, like, it's really hard to look at that and just get hard on yourself and be like, am I a fraud for like even standing for this? Like, no, you're a human being.
Yeah.
And stuff happens. And to be raw on camera and be able to like share those experiences, I think it'll be a lot more relatable, and you get to have a more of a in-depth glimpse of exactly who we are and our own journey, and kind of apply it to where you're at with your own life and stuff too.
You know what I think really messed me up was like COVID. Like I think COVID made me so much of a less social person, if that makes sense. Like when I'm in bigger crowds now, I kind of like, I don't know, like granted I'm always around people and stuff like that, but I get like pretty insecure about shit, and I'm like,
I get super insecure.
It's weird. I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Because like you've been locked in a house and you can't really do anything for, however long. It's just like
to catch yourself in that social setting too, and overthinking like that almost amplifies how anxious you feel.
Yeah.
And you're like, sometimes I'll get into a conversation too, and I won't feel as present with someone. And I think that's one of my big things too, is like, if I don't feel present with somebody, I feel like I'm being rude, and it takes away from the conversation. And that's been a really big struggle with me lately. Like, and I think that goes hand in hand with a lot with COVID and not being around that many people. Yeah.
And even like when I'm like DJing and stuff like that, and just being around a lot of people, like I like sometimes I don't want to talk to people, or I feel weird talking to somebody, because I'm like, I just kind of get in my head a little bit. But that's something I'm working on, and focusing on, building better habits. I think a lot of built some pretty bad habits in terms of like now it's like to get stuff done is like really hard for me, just because I'm like, I think of everything as a daunting task, you know what I mean? So it's like I procrastinate like crazy.
And then it builds up and you're like,
it builds up.
So much to do.
Yeah, I had to go to a therapist 2 weeks ago because of it, and she kind of sat me down and gave me some really good tips that I'm going to put Meg on. And then if you want to be on too, I can show you. But this lady basically had like the craziest accent, which was so soothing. I can't explain it until you get on the phone with her.
Just like your voice.
Shout out to Fiona. Yeah, right. Shout out to Fiona. So she
That's
like,
funny.
she got me, she told me to sit somewhere, a quiet room by myself. I sat on that couch over there by myself, just like in the dark. And she was like, tell me everything you have to do this next few weeks and everything you have going on. And I told her, I sat with her and I told her, and what she did was everything I put, she separated them into different like projects. like Project Grace, Project the Loft, Project Kev's DJing, Project Kev's music, and I'm like, sat down and
Goddamn projects is this kid
it's just, no, it's just
I'm
like,
kidding.
and she like put them all down into different things. I'm gonna tell them like, hey, this is what you should probably be focusing on. This is what you probably can wait to do, because like my head just goes a million miles per hour. So I'm like, yeah, I want to do this and that. She's like, maybe you should wait on this and focus really on this. And it's like, in my room, I have an entire whiteboard of everything, and it's like it's really been helping me. And it's kind of prioritizing and like building, like I said, better habits. You know, whether it's like maybe go for a walk or just. And
I think that's like, some people think it's like the dumbest suggestion, like go for a walk for your mental health. Like some people put that on social media. It's like me going for my dumb little mental health walk. Like it is substantial.
Yeah, because
like
you have to disengage. I feel like everyone's on their phones. Everyone. I watched a video on YouTube about it, and this guy was like, the reason why we're on our phones all the time is because we look for that dopamine hit. And that dopamine comes from whether or not you get a notification, whether it's on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. And it's like everyone's chasing the dopamine because it's what like makes them feel something, you know. But like when you realize and disengage and go for a walk or put your phone down, like, you kind of realize like things are a lot more, like there's a lot more out there than that. And it's like he even said too, like with addicts, like if you notice most of the time, and I mean, sure you can even ask like Meg or someone who is in recovery. It's like they had this addiction, and because a lot of us don't even realize we're addicted to our phones.
We're addicted to a lot.
To a lot of stuff, whether it's a lot of different things. It could be anything, right? But if you realize that you try to do something more often and you have kind of like are dependent on it, they say people who are in recovery and go cold turkey and actually stick through it, they end up appreciating life so much more because they realize that there's a lot more to it than their addiction,
And the thing is with addiction too, a lot of the times you don't even realize it. Like when you come out of recovery and stuff like that, you really have to follow those steps and everything, because it's hard to realize if it's not drugs that you're becoming addicted to something else, whether that's gambling, it could be being on your phone, little things like that. Gambling's a huge one. Shopping, binge eating.
Yeah,
that's a dopamine feed.
Yeah, and
people don't realize that. And when you do that, you're taking away from your bullet points, your projects. You don't realize how many hours of your day. And like as I get older and I have so many more projects that I'm taking on, or I'm reaching out and I'm doing more, like getting involved more with you and stuff. Yeah. You don't realize how many hours in the day you have and how crucial it is to like really set aside an organized list of, I'm so big now on going back and doing my month. I used to do like, okay, I'll do the next day after my day was ending. And I was really big with like a calendar and stuff like that. Yeah. I have to do a month.
Yep. That's what
I talked to you. Yeah. I called you and I was like, if we're doing this, we're getting on a call, and I need to stay organized, because if you don't do that, and I've had it fail in the past, and maybe you'll trip up a couple times and stuff, but it's about regaining that and getting back into a routine and stuff like that. Yeah, it's big.
We actually got to do that this week, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Actually, Kev, we didn't do that.
But yeah, so I wanted to start off. So like I said, I want to mix things up. Like that's what I want to do for this podcast. I want to get people more involved. I want to start educating people more. Me personally, just educating myself, and like I'm on my own journey. So, I want to better myself, and I want to use this as a platform where I can do that. So, Paige, first question I have for you. God. These are shit, man.
You're I already know.
No. These are good. These are good.
All
right. So, question number 1 is, what are you most afraid of?
Failing. I think failing friends or family. I also think I have an issue with. I actually just had this conversation the other day with somebody. I have a really big issue with people not liking me. And it's like a fear of mine. Yeah. And one of the biggest things is like, I don't like having bad blood with somebody. And if I feel like I do, or I feel like I have loose ties with something, I feel like stuck in my life. Like because that's something that's always in the back of my head, and I just feel like I failed somebody. And I beat myself up about that, and like and this is something I go to therapy for. Yeah. Like if I'm at work, I've always been told like I've overachieved. I'm good at what I do. I've been told that a lot, and in my head, I'm not doing enough, but I'm actually like overextending myself with a lot of stuff that I do. So I think I have like this vision of failing everybody. I want to like help everybody and make sure everything's tied up.
I mean, I don't want to say people please.
Yeah.
But that's
how many times have we said this?
But that's my biggest.
That's something I need to work on.
That's something you called me out on. That when we were talking. That's something that I struggle with too. Like, I want everyone to like me. I want everyone to, I just want to be. I don't know. I just want to be appreciated. And I think I seek validation from people that I shouldn't be.
I think everybody kind of does in some sort of way. But it's more so being able to like, and that's what I said. Like this is raw, like us going through our own journey too. So you're growing from that, and I think that even though that's something that's in the back of my mind all the time, I think that I've progressively gotten better with dealing with it. It's just ultimately a fear in the back of my head as well, along with loose fans. I hate loose fans.
Fan.
Yeah, like a loose fan. That's a big fear.
I like that. So
like a loose fan.
That's so random. Nah, that does freak me out too sometimes.
Like imagine, like you ever in grade school and you look up and you're like,
that's
God
hilarious.
forbid.
Okay, you're up.
So, oh God, all right. Which question do I want to go for first?
I have mine right down the line.
Right down the line.
Yep.
All right. Well, this kind of goes hand in hand with you and your projects and everything. How do you handle the stress of juggling multiple responsibilities?
Good question.
That was the first question I wrote down because I was like, all right, Kev.
I guess
we talk about this a lot too. The number one thing I say to Kev every single day is, don't be burning yourself out. You better not burn yourself out. And he's like, well, I got involved with this.
I think just by figuring it out. It sounds really cliche, but I just try to figure it out, and I try to, like I said with the therapist, like I'm just trying to like put everything in different parts and separate them,
compartmentalize everything,
and then go through the line each one. Like today, I was very productive, like just because I sat down and did it. I'm trying to just like push myself that if I have to do something, just do it right away and don't even think about it. And just I try to just take it one day at a time. I try to just attack it one objective at a time. I try not to overwhelm myself because I can overwhelm myself very quickly, obviously, as you know. But I just like to just take it as it comes to me and then get it done. Whether it's like a podcast, like for this one, like I'll edit it, maybe tomorrow, put it out Thursday, and then that'll be that. And then that's why I don't watch them, because I don't like to focus. I like to focus on the next thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I always try to.
Piece of advice I need to take.
Yeah, no, and I always try to ask for help, and that's why I even wanted you to be a part of this, is because, I see something in this, and I know where I want it to go, and it's like I can do it by myself, but things are more fun with someone else, and it takes a little bit off my back too.
Especially when somebody else sees your vision and stuff. I think that's hard to like really. Like, I know for a while, like, I felt lost, like, with things I wanted to do, or, like, ideas would pop up, and it's so easy to, like, even bring that up to an outsider, and they're kind of like, why, what? So to not have somebody that really sees your vision in that it's very difficult.
It's super lonely, and I've been through this a lot, where, like, I have a vision that I have, and no one else is going to see it or accept it until you do, and that's something I learned, and that, like, that's just the reality of life, is that you can't just have everyone tell you, oh, this is great, this is cool, whatever. It's like you have to, like, believe it in yourself, and then everything else will kind of just follow suit. And then it's like you meet people along the way, like you, like Dylan, and even like Maddie and Susan, Paige, just people, Paige Hawthorne, other Paige.
Yeah, that's so confusing. We have two pages on the fundraiser and the fundraiser committee and the nonprofit that we work for, and it is so confusing.
And Megan, and I think Megan partially, I can't remember that. It's fine. I think Megan, sort of in a way, like saved me in a way, and it sounds really deep, but I think that she really adds a lot of value to my life, and I think she really helps me with compartmentalizing everything and tackling different things, because she goes through the same thing. We're very ambitious. We have a lot of goals for the Grace Project, and I think that, when you have people who think like you, it makes it a lot easier. So That's kind of how I
piggybacking off that, and not to make your head even bigger, I think you saved me in a way. And like bringing me on and stuff like that too. Like, and like we said, like we sat down at Garage the other day, and one, it's just so easy to talk to somebody that is like open about their ideas and what they want out of life and what they're doing, and it just makes you so comfortable so you can be straightforward, and our conversations are always so straightforward, but to be able to bounce back and forth and take something away from that. Like, I think like it's easy to say both of us took something away from that. You said that you were working on specific things. Like, I took stuff away from Nifty's and that, and then seeing that like also expand with Meg and like her vision and being able to lean on her. Like me and Meg immediately, I was like, I love her. Like I reached out to
strong.
her. She's so strong, and it brings little pieces of my life that I've gone through that have gone south to fruition, and it makes it a lot easier to get through, and it makes me feel like I have a strong support system that genuinely gets it.
I think that's what you hit. Like, I think that's very important too. And like for people like listening, I can only imagine, like, you know, not trying to get too deep, but everyone has their own journeys, and I don't care what anyone says, but everyone has their own journeys. Everyone goes through their own shit, and to find people like for me, my friend circle got very, very, very small. I used to want to be friends with everyone, and now it's just not the case. You know, it's just not. And I think that's something that I'm dealing with right now, is that like it's just not always going to be the case anymore. And you know,
and that's normal. It's completely normal.
Yeah, and a lot has happened in a year to me in my life, and it's like now I'm kind of adjusting to that, and it's like in my head I'm like so used to just like I feel like I'm used to being told that I'm not shit or I'm not anything, and it's like now that I meet people in my life who genuinely think that, it's like, okay, you know, maybe I'm not completely crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice to like have people around you that
and be able to go to them when you have those bad days, where it's like, okay, I'm still doing like what I want to do, and I've put that aside, and again, like compartmentalize, like even like people hating on what you're doing and your vision and stuff like that, to create a circle that's going to pick you up at the end of the day and keep you moving day in and day out. Like, it's so easy to fall short when you're alone and get in your head and procrastinate on your craft or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I guess the answer to that question is just to find the right people to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
This was pretty easy. 3 goals you want to accomplish this year.
This year? Ooh. I want to buy a house. That's one of my biggest goals. For people that don't know the background story of this, I don't care about like opening up about this, but my family and I like had a really bad riff. I cut them off basically. I mean, still like I love them. It's my mom and dad. It's my family, whatever. But I actually live with my best friend's mother.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
I still love you.
Yeah. But because it was a really rough time in my life, and long story short, I had to get out of the place that I was at because mentally I couldn't handle even being there, because it just was a lot of memories. It was so I bought myself out of my lease, and she always tells me, like, I'm somebody that does not like a handout. And she was like, it's not a handout, it's a hand up. I've been there before. I saw myself in you. You've worked your ass off. She actually has been in my life since I was like 11, 12 years old. And she was like, you've never not had a job. You've never not had anything. You've been paying for your bills for this long. And she really helped me out. And I've been helping out her with like a lot of stuff too, while working. And she really set me up to really get to that goal of buying a house. And I don't think I would have seen it that soon if I didn't have her. Yeah. So I just think that, and that's the thing, like, and I kind of want to, I'll hit on the other 2 goals, but I also want to make it a point to say, don't feel ashamed if you have to step back and like not go out as much, or really double down on your goals and your focus. And so many people were like, is it like awkward, like kind of explaining this? Is it weird living with her? Like, no, not at all. Because it's, she knows my goals. She knows what I want to do. And she's been super helpful with me. And it's about the future. Don't be ashamed in whatever situation you're in, as long as you're working hard. But that's one of them. Another big goal is I want to be able to create some type of public platform with the Grace Project and be able to speak to children. That's a huge goal of mine. I really want to see that come to fruition. And another goal of mine is to, I have so many that are like really written down, but you know what I really want to do? I really want to run a marathon.
Like okay.
I really want to run a marathon because
you gotta train for that.
or not a marathon. What is it? What's the Broad Street Run?
Yeah, it's just
Is that called a marathon?
Yeah.
I just went blank.
I'm
Is
just
that
saying,
a marathon?
No, I'm just saying you gotta train for that.
No, but I want to train for it because also I was told I broke my foot in 2016 and I was told I was never going to be able to run again. Like shattered
Really?
it. I have 2 plates and 8 screws in my right foot.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And in like the winter and stuff, it like really bothers me and everything, but like I've strengthened it so much, but I've been having really bad hip problems and everything. And between like having body dysmorphia, everything happening, like not eating when I was going through like my whole mental break, this is really, if they didn't watch my episode, they're going to be like, what's going on?
Go back and
Go back.
Pause it.
Yeah, go back.
No, yeah.
But I think that if I do that, it's just it's a mental game for me. Like I want to be mentally strong. Like I've had to go through so much, and I just think that instead of focusing on so many other aspects and everything, it's one specific concrete goal that I can mentally push myself for. That I should have never been able to do. That's
Nice.
always been a bucket list. So I think if there's any year that I need to train and do something, it would be this year.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's those are 3 good goals, I think. And even keeping it like even if your goal is like you said, the marathon, your other goal too, even just to start a platform. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just start it. You know, that's the number one thing that like I tell people like, when they ask, like
just do it.
Like people who like come to me about podcasts, like they like, oh yeah, I saw yours, I want to do one. I'm like,
just do it.
Do it. They're like, oh yeah, no, I need.
That's always your piece of advice that you give to me.
They're like,
they're like,
I want to wait for this. I'm like, no, you can't. I'm like, just do it, because there's never a perfect time to do it. My highest point in my life was probably at my internship in LA. Now that I kind of really think about it, yeah, I guess my highest.
And why? Obviously.
Because I was surrounded by people that I loved and cared about, that I had just met. I was in a place that I felt like was away from all the bullshit, all like the toxic shit. I felt like that, yeah, I just felt like my whole life was in front of me. And it was obviously before COVID, so before things got like, shitty. But I mean, yeah, I guess it was in LA. I think that was my highest point, just because it's just like I said, where I was at my life.
Do you think you found yourself more there, or like?
Yes and no. I think that it was just a huge vacation. Honestly, like it was good.
Like actually,
like it wasn't
party.
anything crazy spiritual. Like it was good. Like I got a lot out of it, but like it helped me a little bit find out who I was, because before that I was supposed to drop out of college and not even finish Temple.
You were supposed to drop out.
I told him
Supposed to, or you were going to?
I was going to, which means I was supposed to. Trish. So sorry, Mom. I told her, because I was in the Temple Business School and I absolutely hated it, and I was ready just to quit. And I said, Mom, because when I'm doing something that I don't love, I won't do it. Like I don't care. Like so
100% same.
So I told my mom, I said, listen, like I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm depressed. I'm not happy, and yeah, I want to drop out. And so she's like, why don't you just switch schools? I'm like, I didn't even think of that. Checked out the media school, and I said, listen, like I want to go to LA. Like that's my number one thing. I want to be there. Like that was my goal. Like it was my goal. And then I went, loved it. I wasn't entirely sure if it was for me though, but because I was pretty lonely out there at times. Because I was away from my family and my friends, and I was pretty alone. But it was like I knew it was like something that I needed to do to figure out who I was and at least learn a bit about myself. And I learned that being away,
challenge yourself.
Going
away is hard.
Yeah, so I definitely did that, and I think I would consider the highest point. Lowest point. My lowest point in my life was when I was 16 years old, and I got out of my first relationship. Like, full transparency, that was probably the darkest time of my life. It sounds so stupid.
I love this.
It sounds stupid, but
It's not stupid
it
at all.
was only because I didn't have any experience in relationships. I was around her every day, so I really struggled with that. And then just me feeling alone again. Like, I felt super, super alone. And I just didn't feel like I knew who I was at that point. Obviously, you're so young, but yeah, I just felt like I was super alone, and I went through a lot of emotions. I was nuts. I was crazy, and yeah, I went absolutely insane. Like, like
you don't
really,
gotta tell me that.
like
twice.
crazy shit. Like I remember when we first broke up, I would check her Snap score, refresh it to see if it changed.
To see if it changed.
I was on some nut shit. Like, it was bad.
That's people don't talk about that, but that's a thing.
Nah, for sure.
Like, no wonder people block
especially
each other.
when
Like,
you're
I
16.
can't.
Well, when you're 16 years old, when everyone's
Yeah.
on Snapchat. Like, now I give two.
That was a huge thing because people weren't even in relationships. People were in situationships, and they're like, "Who's your best friend?
Oh, that's the best friend shit.
Who's your best friend?"
Got people in a lot of
Yeah,
trouble.
yes.
But-
Thanks, Snapchat.
But nah,
Go back.
so so I guess that, and now I know how to learn.
How long did that last?
Bro, I was with her for
Like in your not your actual relationship.
Oh.
Well, okay, you can preface it with that.
9 months.
Kev, I love that you're. Oh my God, the eye! You give me an eye look when I'm about to judge something too, and you're like,
So it was 9 months.
But how long did the depression last? You're like actually longer than the relationship.
Honestly,
That's horrible. Didn't mean to
I'll be
laugh at
honest
that.
with you, 5-6 years.
Really?
I swear to God, because at that point in my life, I lost her, who I thought was my best friend, and I fucked it up, and then I lost my grandma, and that was at the same time losing two people you care about.
Oh yeah.
That was probably the loneliest time, and I don't think I ever recovered from it.
I think that's huge too because grief and then struggling with your identity, speaking from literal experience, is hands down the scariest, most loneliest feeling, and it's really hard to relate. Especially, I feel like at a young age, it might even be worse because
that's what I'm saying. I was so young, and I granted, if it happened now, I'd probably be able to handle it a little bit differently. But I was so young, and I was just really going through it. And obviously, you're in that high school bubble, so it's not like she's you would never see her again. You know what I mean? So I would see her every day, and then it was a lot of shit, and it's just learning to.
Did you guys cold turkey it? Did you talk to her after that?
Once, but I'll give her credit. She was very firm on her decisions, so I didn't have a choice but to not recover from it. I had to, so I really forced myself, and then I was I just really didn't. Then I just really went into a dark place, and I think that's what led to a lot of bad habits that I built over the years. And
I feel like as a man, and a woman, I feel like this goes both ways, but you kind of throw up a wall. In that aspect. And when you throw up a wall and you're already kind of questioning your identity and stuff like that, and you're not processing what you're doing, and you're kind of I need to block this out. It's easier than actually going through the motion of this. You almost you lose yourself, but then you become the person you didn't want to become.
Yeah.
And until you figure out that next life lesson, and you're like,
and I think I was really lost, and I think that I stayed that way and never really recovered from it. And because I tried to find comfort in other things, and just ended up not in the long run meaning anything. But I think right now, which is a hard adjustment for anyone who feels like they're learning about themselves or becoming who they want, is it does get lonely again, and it's
and it will keep popping up. There's life lessons where you might find yourself back there. It's all about standing back up on your own 2 feet, and that's a hard lesson to learn.
I think it wasn't necessarily the person, it was just a feeling, and it was that's what led me down there. And then now I think I'm back on the up, and it's coming back from everything that the person I was, I'm trying not to be that anymore, and I'm trying to change that for myself. And I think that's a reason why I even started this and doing the whole nonprofit stuff. I just want to be the best person I can be and surround myself with the best people. And I think that's the transition that I'm in right now. So
easy.
right? Yeah, real shit. So moving along a little bit. I guess my question number 3 is, what's your version of success?
Happiness.
Okay.
100%. I was always somebody who wanted better than what I had growing up. And to me, initially, that meant money. I was money hungry. I was chasing money. If something went south, like, I was also really bad with authority. I think that goes back to like my own trauma and my upbringing and stuff like that. But I think that I'm really bad with authority, and I had trouble with like whoever I worked with. Like, if managers or somebody would tell me like, you got to do this or you can't do that, like, I almost felt like I was bigger than them because of how young I had to grow up, and I just was like an arrogant little fuck. Like, I just wanted. At the end of the day, I didn't care as much as I was a people pleaser and stuff. In the back of my head, I had like this arrogance about me where I was just like, I don't care. At the end of the day, like, I'm getting out of this hole and I'm cracking this nut. And it was something that was really aggravating for me that I found myself sitting with a lot of the time and being almost ashamed. Like, I was like, why am I getting so mad and angry about all these things? And like, but I wouldn't show it on the outside. Like, I was such a people pleaser. I wanted everybody to like me, but I had this thing about myself where I was just like, I want to get, like, I wasn't somebody that would talk about my problems or like how low of the income. Like, I would be in my house and my electricity would be shut off and I'd be like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I just was really hard on myself in that aspect where I just wanted to get out there. I would do anything for money. I would step in front of somebody else and like try and take shortcuts and everything. And then I found out like, when I lost my grandparents and stuff. And I think that honestly, my there it goes. My after I left my relationship of 8 years, and I knew like I had to be really on my own financially and stuff like that. It like amplified. And then I became even more arrogant. And then I lost my grandparents. And then I left my job because I was not being fulfilled. I was so distraught about my grandparents. There was a lot going on. There was a lot behind the scenes in regards to why I quit and stuff. And I immediately jumped into like 4 jobs and stuff and just overworked myself. But within all of that, I knew I always wanted to just be happy at the end of the day. But after it all blew up in my face, like, I really sat with myself and I was like, success means nothing to me if I am not okay mentally and happy with what I have in front of me. And ultimately, like, I think success to me is having that. I don't care, as long as I'm comfortable, if I have a good, healthy family and relationship with myself and the people I care about, that's all I want in life.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer. I think that, but to top off what you said, I think success just comes from, like I said, taking pride in your work and being happy with that. And I think a lot of people will learn what that is. And it's a very lonely journey, and it's a journey that takes a lot of trial and error. And I think that's the thing a lot of people are nervous about, is that trial and error and exposing themselves in front of people.
Well, because the thing is too, is like how, and this was actually this is a good topic because it's something I really struggled with recently. And I was I was going through a lot internally, like, and I am just somebody who always wanted my family to, like, I didn't want to expose them. And I was happy when I was happy. And, like, so many people were reaching out to me over the last year, and this was probably the hardest year of my life, but so many people were like, your happiness is contagious. And I don't want to come off as a fraud to be like, was she just, like, faking that? Like, she just wanted to be one of those girls on Instagram? Like, no, I was happy, but it doesn't mean that you don't have other things that you have to deal with. Like, no one is genuinely happy. Like, 24/7 all the time, have nothing going on, have no insecurities, are completely okay with yourself. And if you do, shout out to you. You're a freaking superhuman.
You're not real.
Like, you're not real. Like, I don't consider you real. But I think it's important to say that too. And like I said, like, a lot of celebrities and stuff, like, they'll say, you think you're going to make all this money and you're going to be the happiest person in the world. Like, it comes with a price to pay eventually. Like, and like I said, it's just, I am happy. I'm naturally a happy person. Like, I'm a bubbly person. What you see is what you get. Like, I'm not faking that. But there's a lot of internal struggles and there's a lot of life stuff that will hit you. And like I said, kind of goes back to the other question and stuff. It's about getting back up on your feet and being able to roll with the punches.
It's embracing the journey too.
Yeah. You have to have sad times and like struggles and stuff to make the happy times even that much better.
Exactly. And to take, what I always tell people too is like, telling people to take those experiences and just learn from them and incorporate them. Like people say, oh, I wasted my time with this person. It's like, no, you didn't. You spent the time you did with them. Now you know that's not what you want, or never to settle for that again.
But maybe there was certain aspects of that person that you see in your future and stuff. Be able to take that into your next relationship or your next friendship, whatever it is, that whatever falling out you might have had, and also take the life lessons that came with that, which you know that you that's not a value of yours. That's not something that you want in a significant other or a friend.
For sure.
That's how you grow, and that's why everybody says this. Like parents will say this to you, like when you're growing up, like, oh, like protect who you have in your circle. Your circle's gonna go like get smaller, or when it comes down to it, look at your parents. How many really good friends do they have? Maybe like a couple, a handful.
Not like less than 10.
Yeah, like
mostly.
Yeah, and like maybe acquaintances here and there and stuff. Yeah. But like everything, it's like a ebbs and flow.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the okay? I got another one.
All right. Yep.
All right. Who inspires you the most and why?
Okay. Person who inspires me the most, I would say, is probably, when it comes down to it, I can sit here and say, like, you know, my role models are, you know, like people I look up to in terms of Logan Paul, like with his creativity and blah, blah. I think who inspires me the most is probably my dad. Only because of him actively, like, choosing to love me, and I'll leave it at that. But I think actively,
I love that answer.
Yeah, it's I've actually, you know, it's crazy. I thought about this question yesterday, so I'll come back to this. We'll clip this. I'll come back to this, but I have a weird feeling that in 2022, 2023, me and Meg and the Grace Project will be on the Ellen Show. I have a very weird feeling. I've been manifesting it, and I'm putting it out there in the world, and I've envisioned her asking me this same question, and every single time it'll be my dad, because he chose to love me, he chose to take me in, and he chose to be a good parent and a good person. And
you're gonna make me cry.
And the way he takes care of my mom, like, that's just straight up, like, he inspires me the most, because like he's the kind of person that I want to be, the kind of father I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Way to just.
Yeah.
God,
so I'll leave it at I'll leave it at that. Without getting
That's amazing.
Getting too emotional, but I'll leave it at that. Okay.
Also, I love that.
Yeah. So what are 3 things you like about yourself?
My personality, number 1.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
My personality, because I would go personality and adaptability in the same category. Like, I just think that I'm somebody that could be thrown into any group of, like, any friend group, any diversity, whatever, and be my full-blown 100% authentic self. But I have certain sides to me. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is somebody's like, and a lot of people have told me this, and I don't know why, it just really just grinds my gears. Like, people say I'm not figure outable. Like, I like that people say that, because it's like, okay, like, maybe I'm not, but I have certain sides to me because I've had to be adaptable my whole life. I've lived in 12 different neighborhoods. I've gone to 2 high schools.
Yeah, you've been around in terms of just meeting people.
Yes, and like I've been, and every single in grade school and in both high schools and in college, I've been on a sports team, a sorority. I've been like, I played softball, I played lacrosse, I was a cheerleader. I was like, I'm very diverse in that aspect, and then having to move around in neighborhoods, I just knew that I wanted to kind of, guess this goes back into like fitting in, but like I was still myself about it. You know, when I knew like I was still like completely authentically myself, like I questioned myself about this recently. Facebook had those quizzes that you take. Like, you know, and you have like, you know, when
No fucking way. You're bringing this full circle back to a fucking Facebook.
Like,
That's so funny.
but like, you know how it would be like, what do you like about yourself? Or have you ever been mean to someone or something like that? Like, all of my answers, I swear this grounded me recently.
Yeah.
Like, I felt grounded. Like, I was
That's
like, fuck yeah,
so
Paige. Like, you are who you are. Go
funny.
ahead.
That's hilarious.
Like, I literally was reading it and I was like, to anybody that has ever questioned this, I was like, and made me question myself, like, no, I've always been myself. Like, no matter how crazy or outlandish I can get, no how nuts I can be, like, I always come back and I am a nice person. Like, I always look out for other people. And I just really pride myself in that because I'm like, I don't want to switch up on anybody. And like, that's something that I always pride myself in. My resilience to be able to stand, that should be number one, to be honest. I'm somebody that if I fall down, I get back up 10 times harder, no matter what.
Yeah.
And and I have a record to show it. And like, and my friends will back it. Like, my friends, when they get like actually sentimental, I'm like, we joke about things a lot, and like that's just my personality too. But when we get like serious or like we like sit down and have a girls' night and stuff, like especially nowadays, like when shit hit the fan, they were all there. But now as like almost 6 months have gone by and like they know the extent of what was going on because I hid a lot of shit that like really happened. Just having that out in the open and being able to like really have people like look you in your eyes and be like, even your therapist, my therapist says this, they're like, you are the most resilient person I've ever like had to sit down with. And it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope to God nobody has to be that resilient.
Yeah, but that's something people can learn from though. So that's something you can take and say, listen, I went through this and I lived through it, and you can show it to other people. And that's, you know, that's a super important quality I think that gets slept on a lot is like the fact that what you've been through is something you can share with other people. You know what I mean?
And then the third one, my empathy. I would say my empathy because no matter, I would say how small or big your issue is, like I could have gone to Nifty 50s and like gave you a spiel and been like, blah, 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 this is how hard my life's been and all that stuff. And like rather, even though I've been a lot more open about it recently, I think that I've always been more intrigued and more willing to learn about somebody else and what they're going through and take something from that and be able to like genuinely feel what they're going through and put all of my issues aside. And I think it helps me grow as a person, but it also, like, I had one of my biggest things that like I still have, it's on my desk, like every single time I sit down at my desk to work, still to this day. It's only been like a year. I got I was working at a coffee shop in between jobs, and I loved it, to be honest. But I had a girl come in. Long story short, she was like, I just hit a dog. I am so stressed. My life is like falling apart. Just randomly, like, I have those moments. I don't know if I have that face where they're like, I know she's going to listen to me. Like, and she just opened up and I was just like, oh my God. And I paid for her whole order, and I didn't have work the next day, but she wrote me a letter. And I told her, I was like, go on with it, like your day, like look me in the eyes. It's going to get better. Like, trust me, like small gesture. And she wrote me a letter, and it was the first time, like, I do that stuff a lot. Like, and I don't talk about it because I think that, like, if you're blowing up social media and you're
it's just your it's your character.
And
it's who you are.
But I had something concrete that, like, she wrote me a letter after that, and it's just something that like sticks with me.
There's something about a letter that just goes.
I'm big on that.
Yeah, I do.
I'm very big on that.
So next episode, I want to read my journal from 2016. I have a journal.
All right, if you have a journal, I'll read my journal.
Because I have a whole journal from that experience that I talked about, losing my grandmom and everything. I have a whole journal about that. And I just realized that I have it. And I wanted to have an episode where I read it. Because I started reading it.
Wait, that would be a good one if we go back and forth, because I have a grandmom journal.
damn. So I
cry.
literally just realized that I started reading it and I cried the first page. I'm like, I need to save this for something like that that can help someone else. Like, you know what I mean? So, but
That's actually a good one too, because we can go back and forth on that too. Also, weird side note to like kind of go into that. So I wrote the day that my grandmom died, my family was in like a huge fight. And I was like, why? Like, because of COVID. So, like, nobody could go in. But I was like, am I really not going to hear her voice? Like, and, like, they're telling me she's about to pass.
Yeah.
And I called the hospital, and I was like, put me through to Terry Hamilton. Like, whatever. I don't care what you do. It connects. And she answers. Meanwhile, she had stage 4 lung cancer. It was very hard for her to talk, especially during, like, the last few hours. And connected with her. We had a conversation. It was probably like 10 minutes long. Not 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes long. She told me everything I needed to hear in that conversation. Like, it was almost like one of those out-of-body experiences where, like, she was almost answering everything I needed to hear. And, like, it was so much closure. But then I walked away from my house because I didn't even want to tell my parents or anybody about this experience. I went back in. I had a journal. Like, I had a notebook that I wrote everything in. And I wrote a huge like journal entry from that day and like my feelings and like thanking God and just trusting like the process and whatever. And a week later I went to my grandparents' house and I went through her stuff by myself. Like, they told me like Paige can go through everything herself like first. As I was going through her top drawer where she kept like, she used to show me all these knickknacks and stuff, like whatever. Long story short, I find a letter on the same day, same exact date, but in 2014, I wrote her a letter, and if I read you back to back the letters, like I was sobbing.
It's a full circle moment.
Shut the fuck up. It all came full circle. But like, not kidding you, it was like, oh my God. Like, even, and I know it's coincidental that it was the same exact date, but like, one, the fact that she kept that was so sentimental, and then to see it was wild. That's my journal entries are. We're
gonna do an episode where we go deep into that shit.
My journal entries are.
You make
really
me
wild.
nervous because I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of editing to do in our episodes because there'll be so much.
We're gonna just like go back crying. Okay,
you have a question number 4. We'll do 5 questions today. And then
I didn't realize how long we were actually gonna
because we're going in. I didn't realize we were gonna go in on these questions, so we'll do 5. So you do one, then I'll do one, then you do one.
Okay. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? What do you have that question?
That's so weird. I have the same question. Yeah, but I'm not gonna ask you that question.
I have like 4 questions that you already asked me.
That's crazy. Two great minds think alike. So one thing I would change about myself is my.
So glad you didn't ask me this.
Okay. Well, it's my fucking show. I'll ask you right back. So I guess my biggest one thing I'll change about myself, if I'm being completely transparent, is probably my my desire to want to be liked by everyone.
I feel like we relate to that on so much.
Like, I do have a fear. I guess I can say I used to have that fear of just wanting to be liked by everybody. I want everything that I do to be liked by everyone. I realize that just ain't the case. So, I mean, there's so much shit I want to change about myself, but
Jesus, Kevin.
Yeah, it's shit. Fuck.
You're like, actually, I'm gonna go to bed tonight crying because you really want this out.
I guess I won't touch on it too much. I just want to I want to stop hurting people. I want to be more comfortable with myself. I want to start, I want to stop wanting to please everybody, because
that doesn't happen overnight either, and that's the hardest lesson to learn.
Because that's affected a lot of relationships in my life, personal and romantic wise. I think a lot of times I get into this mental cycle where I want to make sure everyone in this situation is taken care of before I am, and I want to make sure like no one's feelings are hurt. I want to make sure everyone's like, I don't want to make anyone feel weird or insecure. Like, it boils down to, it boils down to like, let's say we're at a like.
This is making me burp.
Yeah, sorry about the occasional.
I'm like,
I'll try my best to edit it out, but it probably won't work. But nah. So yeah, I guess like, let's say for example, I always try to include people in conversations, and then I also like if I'm at a bar. And
I called you out on that recently.
You did, and let's say we're at a bar, and like there's 4 people of us who are getting shots, and I buy all the shots, and 2 more people walk up. I'm
yeah,
like,
you're like, I need to buy that.
I need to buy them too. Like I always try to please everyone, and like I think that what that does, it kind of overextends me and kind of messes with me a little bit because it doesn't allow me to stand my ground, and I kind of aren't always firm on my beliefs or firm on what I want because I want the other person to be okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that another thing too to kind of add on to that, like we've touched on this subject a lot where like that's always been kind of like our issues, but I think that another thing to kind of put in there and like to change about us, I guess, would be implementing boundaries. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to implement boundaries when you not only are a people pleaser, but also have that fear or something of not being liked. Yeah. Because you're like, how am I gonna, or like I talked about adaptability. I think that you're super adaptable. I think that you're really diverse in the way that you can speak to people. And I don't think that that's, again, some people will be like, oh, well, you're a fraud if you can't do that. But I think that that's just your personality. But by doing that and not allowing your own personal boundaries to be set up, it's so easy to get walked all over. And if you don't do that, then people almost contribute to that. Like, they put that into your personality.
But do you know why? I think I know why I'm the way I am is because of the space that I'm in. Guess you can call it space. Like, anyone who tries to put themselves out there or wants to build something from the ground up and build a business, like, that, because that's what I'm doing. I'm building a business. Like, with everything I'm doing and everything I'm working on, like, and it's crazy because, like, no one on the outside really understands it yet unless you know me. And it's, like, it's exciting, but it's, like, at the same time, it's, like...
You don't see behind the scenes and, like, what's going on and the stress.
Like, it's scary, but, like, it's just crazy because when I'm in that space where I put out videos and I put out podcasts every week. I put out music. I try to make TikToks here and there just to, like, kind of, like...
I like your drunk TikToks.
Like, I did that one specifically because I knew...
Your TikTok blew... One... I got a text message from an old coworker. Oh, I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
An old coworker that was literally like, your homie is so good. Like, I watched this on repeat 10 times. Yeah. And I was like, that wasn't a drunk one.
So you know what? So you know why I made the drunk one? Because
that was also the night after.
Yeah, that was the night we hung out. So it was that. And
meanwhile, I'm in my bedroom like, I want to party with
you. No, so the reason why I did it is because I just know how people are, and I know he's been, like, watching lately, and I knew that people would send it out, and I knew that people would talk about it.
I looked at the scent.
How many? I didn't even say.
You had like, it was double digits.
Really?
When I looked at it. Why have you not checked it?
I can't even tell. No. So
I look at them.
So you know what happened? So
I love that though.
So you know what happened though? Put that out. And then I put out the cover the next day. And that on Instagram got over like 50, 60 send outs on Instagram. Not even TikTok wise, but it's like, it's all.
You finessed it?
It's all about, it's all about.
What did I tell you?
You know?
What did I tell you? When I initially came on here, I was like, so many people are like, oh, she's me. I mean, I definitely don't think that I was like psychologically like grounded again and like really like not thinking about all the stuff that happened to me until probably late December. So like my stuff was all over the place and I wasn't like structuring things correctly and everything. But my thing is my overall idea of things. Like there was a rhyme and a reason for everything. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck.
It's marketing, dude. I'm telling you.
I don't give a fuck what you think of me. It's my life. Like it's where I'm taking
a lot of it.
Like you can literally.
A lot of feedback I got was good too. Like it's weird. Like even like comments and shit like that. Not that it matters, but I just know that like.
And like who cares? You have.
I know.
I originally started everything that I've been doing and talking about and all this stuff just for one person. I told myself, and I like literally was like so serious about it. I was like, one person reaches out. I get messages all the time over like especially the podcast that I did with you prior. of like I was at the FOP.
That probably got sent out. So I probably got sent out so many
I was
times.
at the FOP. A grown woman
Mm.
who I did not know came up to me and was like, I literally sat in the bath, put my kids to sleep, and watched that. And I've been through so many experiences that you've gone through.
That's so
I can't
dope.
believe that you even talked about it and were open about that. It gave me strength. It gave me hope. And I literally cried at the FOP. I was
That's
like,
so
are you
dope.
kidding?
See, dude, welcome to
Like, welcome to the law.
welcome to the loft, baby. No, like really, no real shit. Like this is why I do what I do is because
Yeah. You have no idea the
You don't-
smallest little conversation that's going to hit somebody.
yeah, you don't understand, you don't realize, you don't see it, and it's like it's just that it's that journey of building something, and the people that come along in your life, you want to join it, and then as long as one person knows, as long as it helps one person,
One person.
that's all I care about. As long as it helps one person,
Hashtag one person.
that's all I care about. As long as what I want to do, because I love doing this. I don't even think of it. I do it. I don't even think about this. I don't even think about having the film, having a schedule. I don't think of it as work or anything like that. It's just what I love to do.
I also feel like I can't even tell you how nervous I used to be on the old podcast that I used to do, or like talk in front of a mic, talk in front of a camera, like do whatever. Like I used to be so worried about like what I looked like, this, that, and the third. Like
Yeah.
why am I gonna care? If you don't like me for who I am, then fuck you.
No, and the reason why I don't care.
I'm gonna tell my story.
But yeah, the reason why I don't worry or get nervous or anything is because I've built this habit of posting every single week that my posts, like to someone else to be posting and promoting something is so out of there. But for me, it's every week for me. I built that habit, and I personally love it. Like I love it, and like you mentioned, like the one person, like I do this for me.
Yeah,
and it's just something that. And then at the same time,
what did you say to me too when I started everything? You were like, "You're gonna have your OGs."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a select group of people, like who I wouldn't even thought would be that little group.
Yeah.
And constantly supporting me.
Yeah.
Constantly
You find your
reaching out.
people. And then listen, that builds into something else. Like everything builds into something else. Like with the candle business, like that's something that I built off of this. It's something that I want to build off of this. It's something that I want to take pride in, and I wanted to do very well. And the clothing line that I'm gonna bring back, like that's something I take a lot of pride in, and something that, and then it can go into wine glasses, it can go into anything. It can really turn into anything. So it's like I want to get into the wellness space a lot. So.
Yeah.
Something to be really focused on. I'm gonna start with aromatherapy, aka candles, and then build on from there. But all right. So I'm gonna ask you my last question.
Okay.
Right? Is it me? Yeah, it is me. Okay. Well, I said that. Well, you're gonna ask. So, who are the three most important people in your life?
Oh, God, that's really myself. Myself.
I like that you
and
said
myself.
that.
To be honest, at this point in my life, no. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard because I feel like I've been really alone this past year, and I've really had to pick myself up. So number one, myself is. I'm doing this for me. Everything that I do in my life at this standpoint, like, is for myself, for my future family, for my future. And nobody's getting in the way of that at this point. Like, I've gotten to like a really good grounded standpoint where it's just like I'm not doing it for anybody but myself. A lot, like in the past, like I think I was really naive, and I'd be like, oh, I'm doing things for my parents, or I'm doing things for this, and it's like I've had so many disappointments and so many loopholes in my life and so many deaths, and it's dark. Like, so at the end of the day, it's just I'm doing it for me and my future family, I would say. That's number one. I would say my two best friends, Gabby and Devin. They've been through hell and back with me. I look up to them so much. Like, I lean on them so much. We go back and forth all the time. We check in on each other like daily. But we've known each other since I was like 11. And like I said, like I think that growing up, a lot of the time I held my cards really close to my chest in fear of, I think it was in fear of like, I always pictured, this is weird and this is random, but I always pictured my wedding day, and I never want it whoever I married and their family to look at my family like we were scum, or like we were like, or that, like, I just don't like conversation about my family. I always back my family no matter what. So I never explored my trauma or talked about it. But those two knew it from the rip.
Do you think about your wedding day a lot?
All the time.
I do too.
All the time.
You know why? Because I know I'm gonna cry. Because
I'm going to bawl my eyes out like a motherfucking
and it sounds so
baby.
gay. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Like, I know because the person that I marry is gonna be the one who saves me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That I tell myself that every day.
Crazy. Like
So many people walk up to me too and they're like, "Oh, like this guy's so good for you," or this guy, or and I can set you up, especially now. Like so many people are like, "You should go out with him," or "You should do this." And I am my one thing. I'm like, I am so invested in myself right now, and so emotionally. Like I'll joke around with it and here and there and like whatever, but like I am not. But dating, like I am so emotionally unavailable,
Really?
and so invested in myself. Like, no, absolutely not. But like you said, like I want that moment of like raw connection. I'm not seeking it. You're gonna save me. This is, but like, and not judge me. Like,
yeah,
and be that catalyst in my success story.
yeah. I think like something I want is someone who like can like understand me and respect me for who I am and like appreciate what I do, and because like something I like seek a lot of times is like validation, and it's just like something I've always craved in my life, just by wanting to be seen and wanting to be acknowledged. And it's like I know that the person I marry is the one who's gonna
Actually
tell
do
me
that.
Yeah,
But I also need somebody that's not, and this is the hard part too, like not going like to be insecure themselves, or I guess you could say like the perfect person that's gonna sweep you off your feet. That's literally like you. I feel like me and you have talked about this before. I feel like I've gone through so much where I'm gonna recognize that in somebody anyway.
yeah.
But hands down to your question, do I think about my wedding day a lot? Yes. I told my friend the other day, I was like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like I don't know. This is gonna go on forever because I have no idea who is going to actually get down on one knee and marry me one day, because I've now at the point that I'm at, I'm like, I have it's fucking standard.
But that's exciting though.
It is exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that it's gonna be fun to like explore, especially when I like you said, like hit my 3 goals this year, get my own house. Like I'm able to like really ground myself in exactly what I want to do, and like and like I think that after my 8-year relationship and buying a house with him and then getting into a relationship like not even a year later, yes, that was insane. But we're on good terms. Like I just texted him like recently and like asked him for a book. Like
that's good.
And he still has a girlfriend. Like somebody asked me the other day, they were like, "Do you actually like go out and get drinks with him?" I said, "Never alone." Like I would never disrespect his girlfriend like that, and like I don't, and vice versa. But I think that in like a group setting, like we would sit down and we would automatically be like, "How are you doing? What's happening?" Like his mom will text me once in a while, like. But I just think that that's mature. But my third person, I would say, as much as I want to strangle him to death, like majority of the time, because we always go back and forth, and like sometimes we'll have toxic behaviors together, I would say my cousin Casey. So my cousin Casey, he was the one that I brought up. He like walked in on me when I was going to commit suicide. He, from a very young age, kind of took me under his wing. I took him under my wing too. And we learned a lot about our family at a very young age together, and realized that we had a maturity that the other kids in our family didn't. And we kept that to ourselves, and we protected them big time, like very big. And we still do. We still do to this day. We call each other. We check up on each other all the time. And like the number one conversation that we have is like, how do you feel? Have you talked to XYZ in the family? Have you talked to them? Like, how are they doing? What? And at the same time, we also talk about work and like exactly what we want to do and like where we're progressing. And we've seen each other fall short, but we know when to give each other distance and stuff too. So I respect him so much and I look up to him. And I think that at the end of the day, like I would consider him like one of my best friends as well too. So I would put it in that category as much as it's so sad that I can't sit here and actually give 3 right off the bat, but like it just goes to show how much I've gone through.
It's a loaded question, you know what I mean? But it's like it's one of them superlative questions they ask, like to know, you know what I'm saying? This just came to the forefront. I am not kidding you. I have a problem with any time I have to put an emergency contact down on a piece of paper, I almost like go full-blown paralysis. Really?
Because it's a trigger for me. Because I used to put my ex-boyfriend on all the time. Like when we were together for 8 years and stuff, I was like, I don't know who to call. Like I could text my mom one day and not hear from her for 2 weeks, and then I could have one day where she's calling a bar that she heard I was at. Like but people don't get that.
That's insane.
And so when I see that question, like, or that, and I have to fill that out, like even for a job, or like I have to fill out previous addresses or something like that, it's such a trigger for me because it really brings back, like, I'm good with coping with things, but it's like this is pretty fucked up.
It brings back trauma and brings back things you went through. Yeah,
and it's hard. So that's why, you know what? I will put myself number 1 because
you should put yourself number 1. Put yourself number 1, Peach.
R-E-S-P.
Love it, girl. All right, yeah. Go ahead. What's the last question you got?
All right. Okay. A secret that you've never told anyone. Do you see one up for the last?
Good thing this is the last one you asked. No,
you're like, please, dear God, turn the episode off now.
No, last time I got asked that, I found out a big family secret. So
wait, yes,
yeah,
right on the money.
No, so
oh, I'm excited.
This is a secret I never told anyone.
Ooh. You asked this question?
No, last time
somebody,
my friend asked me this question, I found out a big family secret.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what family secret I'm talking about?
No.
I'm gonna cut this out.
What?
Yeah, dude, I found this out last year.
Oh my God.
My friend Kylan said, "Is there anything you've never told me before?" So a secret that
That's a good thing.
Yeah, so a secret that I have.
How am I supposed to hold my composure after what he just told me off camera?
Honestly, a secret that I never told anyone. Give me a minute. Okay. This one, let me think.
While you're doing that, I'll just, when I thought about this while I was writing the question, because I was like, what if he asked me that? And the one thing that popped into my head, we used to have, keep thinking. I
haven't stopped.
We used to have these like skirts, like skirt things, like for grade school. And it was really, it was really icy out. And I slipped off of our bus, and we were like the first stop. So it was a full bus of kids, and I was probably in like 6th grade. And I fell off the bus, and my dress thing, whatever, got like caught on something and like wrapped around, and I was like laying in the ice, like almost naked.
You can talk to the camera. I'm in deep thought. I'm in deep thought right now.
We should cut that out.
I'm in really deep thought. Like I'm honestly really.
Right, when you do that, I'll explain another story.
No, seriously, no. Wait, but no, seriously, I don't really have any like crazy secrets.
We have a really good one.
Oh my God, go ahead.
One time, you know when you're at the playground and you get like the swing and you like basically swing it around and then you let go, right?
Yes.
And it spins you. There was a full-blown basketball court of people playing basketball. Thank God I lived right up the street. My shorts got caught onto the thing, and they literally ripped off. Like I had no pants on.
Jesus Christ.
In a Boyle playground.
I guess something that, I got sucker punched one time at Liberty Bell tennis court when I was like fucking 10 years old.
That's not that awkward.
I don't know. It's not. No, that's like something I never really told anyone. I guess.
You're like, I was taking that one to the grave.
Yeah, no.
You're like,
yeah.
you're like,
No,
I'm tough as shit. Never again.
A secret that I never told anyone. I don't, like I said, I'm pretty open. There's nothing necessarily that I've taken to the grave. I guess an awkward moment. I mean, that's a really tough question. Do you have anything else? I really can't think of any awkward moments. Like,
You've
I've
never been awkward.
like I have, but like I've been on some like really awkward like dates and shit. Like I like.
All right. Hit me with your worst date experience.
Oh my god. Okay.
What did you watching?
No, so the worst, and I said this to people, like that ask me for like any kind of advice or whatever. Like, don't go to the fucking movies. Like, don't go on a movie date.
Why would you?
Was
this a first date?
This is when I was probably like 18, 19. I went to the movies with this girl, and we went to the movies, and it was just really awkward, and I sat.
How could it be that awkward when you're watching a movie?
Because I sat like this. Didn't even do the counting shoulders.
You didn't even do the shoulder move.
I didn't even count shoulders, but like I was just sat there, like we just sat there. And I think I hate about movies that you have to watch the movie and you can't talk. Like I don't want to do that. I want to talk to you. Like that's why like I've gotten.
Are you one of those people that like when you're in a room with somebody? Are you like already thinking about what you're about to say next because you want to fill silence?
Sort of, yes. It depends who I'm with. If we vibe, then no.
Do you know a lot of people aren't like that?
Like what?
They don't have that dialogue in their head. Like they. Can
I
just
constantly do. I mean,
I'm like, what am I gonna fill this with?
What? Be literally, I'm on episode 41. Like that's what I do every single week.
You're like,
so
all
like,
I do is talk.
All I do is just think about the next thing to say. I build off of everything you say. Like I could talk to you for hours. Like in the beginning, like when I started like a podcast, like I used to be really fucking awkward. I used to have questions in my head that I would set down.
Yeah,
but now
I
I'm
can't
like,
do that anymore.
I like being organic. And it builds.
Mind you, we're like, this whole episode
Mind you.
is a list of episodes. We're like, I literally can't even do that anymore. Questions are just too hard.
Yeah, no, yeah, but nah. So
I love that.
So no. I guess we'll cap it off on that. But like, this is like really fun. I want to do this again. I think we should do this again.
Yeah. Should we do this every 20 episodes?
Yeah.
Or every 10?
Less than that.
Every 10 episodes?
Yeah, every 10.
Get a recap on where we're at.
Yeah, and we want to get people more involved. Like, we would love to just have people on. I have some ideas down the line that I want to do.
We've talked about a lot.
When we get really good guests, like I want to like do some giveaways where we like allow someone to come here to the studio and like kind of sit in on an episode. I think it'd be really cool. But that's like down the line. But at the end of the
sweet setup.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I take pride in it.
No, I like it. I complimented you before we even
I take
started.
a lot of pride in it.
Except looking at that and then looking at that, I feel like I'm blind.
Oh, it's rough. Well, I had to compensate for the light being out.
We're good.
Nah, this was a really good episode. It was just like a casual one. I took a week off before that. I just needed to, I needed to just like kind of.
You have to
reassess some things, and I'm glad that you're here to help me with that. And yeah, I'm glad you're a part of the team, and I'm glad that you wanted to. I
just keep butting my head into everything that he does.
Nah, yeah, nah, but I am really glad that you came into my life, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. And I'm
love you, kid.
Yeah, love you too, Pop. And we'll just see what happens. And yeah, just I guess we can leave people with this. Just things in your life, be excited for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
you never know how full circle things are gonna come.
God fucking damn it.
I'll slip it in there.
No, just be excited. Like be grateful. But yeah, no. So I want to thank everyone for watching and listening these past 41 episodes. It truly does mean a lot, and I don't really say it enough because I guess I'm still adjusting just to everything. Like,
all the feedback too. Like we get great feedback and stuff too. Like it's really appreciated.
And I guess I don't really acknowledge that as much as I should, just because like I said, I have things that I'm insecure about, and it sounds really weird to say that, but I am. And I don't really think that I don't really think about what I do or like anything like progress that I've made. But like recently, this year, I've really been trying to just like track my progress and just like be proud of what I do. A lot of times I like to push on to other people and say, no, it ain't me, it's them, whatever. But I think it is important when you are going through shit in life and you're getting through it. It is important to acknowledge how far you've come. I think we all go through a lot of shit, and no one gives us credit for it, right? And it's like like things that maybe Paige you've gone through, or battles that someone who's listening went through. I just think it's important for you to just acknowledge it. And yeah, that camera's out, but I'll just end off on this. But I think it's important to acknowledge it, and I think that you realize you're more capable than you realize. So I guess I'll leave off on that. Paige, you want to hop in this shot real quick because the camera died?
Yes, hold on.
So
I'm going to bring it
into
your camera.
Okay, so this is the Loft episode 41. I'm Kev Nichols.
I'm Paige Pullman. I love you, Kev. We love you.
We love you. And peace. Peace, guys. Peace.
I'm stuck.
That was fun.
That was a good one.
That was good.
That was really good. Wait, I'm so excited with how
The camera, I promise the cameras will be way better. We'll have a lot more focused. I don't even know how the fuck that turned off, to be honest with you, because that should be plugged in. Yeah. Whatever. But anyway, guys, peace.